Welcome back, Washington Balkans fans, episode 230 of the podcast. I really don't know what to say on the intro because the whole intro that I had planned in my head was around Kluver not having sleeves on, and he has sleeves on. This one hurts, folks.
Let's go.
Because now I'm really sitting here holding my nuts. Like, what do I even say? The Suns up 1-0 in the series. I texted Macon Pleva, fuck the Bucks, Suns in 4. He said he guaranteed Bucks win in 6.
Wow.
So after last night, I offered him the opportunity to come on the podcast today and, shoot the shit with us, talk about all things sports in general. And he declined the opportunity, and he said he needed to wait until the Bucks got a win to have some legs to stand on. So Macon, continue sitting on your pussy, and Suns in 4.
Wow. That is aggressive. Got the sleeves on. We rolled up right into the podcast today. Technically I was late. Tech guy was late today. You're a little B- for Drake tonight.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I felt like because Sha'Carri Richardson got suspended from the Olympics for using performance-enhancing drugs, that I would try and use as many performance-enhancing drugs as possible for the podcast tonight and show up in 10-8 form.
Okay. All right. Sha'Carri Richardson and the Mary Jane is on the list of topics, and I'm real excited to talk about it. Bud Light. Kevin, are you alive and in the picture here? Maybe not. I don't know. If he's talking, I can't hear him.
Yeah, moving on from Kevin. We'll just wait till he gets home.
He's in this Zoom call right now, but we can't hear him if he's talking. So there were some alcoholic beverages consumed this weekend. We celebrated Jake Gervais and Haley Schneden, now Haley Gervais, in Bettendorf, Iowa at the Isle. It was a fantastic time. Stayed at the casino. Got to see Bo. Myself personally, I've seen Kevin multiple times in the last couple of years. First time I've seen Bo and Josie since my wedding. Man, it felt good. And Josie, when Josie has a couple pops in him, he's got a couple alcoholic beverages.
Have you been listening to Are You Garbage?
No, that's what John said last week when Kevin mentioned that when they went to Come and Go late at night. He said, yeah, we had a couple pops in us. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Couple of pops.
Josie gets a couple pops in him, and he starts to get grabby, dude. And I don't know if you remember that from our time at Benton Street, but he starts to get touchy. And he was grabbing me, and bro, his hands are so strong.
Yeah, man. He takes on the biggest, baddest athletes pretty much on the planet.
And he's so strong.
For a living, man. Think about what those hands have been through, man. He worked on the farm growing up, and
True.
Then he's taken on so many blocks in his life.
Did Josie get so good at sports and athletics by rolling with cattle?
I don't know, but I think that farm grit has something to do with athletic success, because there are a lot of successful farm kids.
He was rolling BJJ with cattle growing up, and that's why Josie's so goddamn strong. If he wanted to, he I don't know why he did it. It's just because it's Josie. He grabbed my arms, both my wrists, as we were standing there, like just whatever, hanging out at the reception. And I was like, Josie, come on now, like let go, dude. And I couldn't get out. If I had to, for my life, get away from Josie, I'm fucked. I'm done.
The Dagestani handcuffs were on. They were locked in place?
On, dude. On. The Amish handcuffs were on.
The big head handcuffs.
And he didn't look as Amish as he has in the past. Josie was actually looking pretty dapper.
Yeah, to be honest, he's a good looking fellow these days.
He's gotten better looking as time's gone on.
Yeah, he's really aged like fine wine.
Yeah. And incredible to see him. Incredible to see Bo Bauer. God, he's skinny. He's sitting at 200 pounds. He's bald as a cute. Yeah. I mean, we all are, actually. Me, you, and Bo all weigh the same weight. And Bo had his beautiful fiance there with him, and it's the first time that I've met Rachel in person. And dude, she's the female Bo.
She's a savage. damn near the female me. Like she says
Yeah,
some things that are bananas.
she is. I just I didn't know what the right life companion looked like for Bo Bauer,
That's her.
and it's her, dude. And it couldn't make me any happier because you want to see your boys happy, and she makes Bo happy. And watching them, I mean, I'm not gonna get too far into it, but watching them dance and just be fucking weirdos together. Oh my god, it was incredible. Uh, and then we also introduced her to blackjack, and she lost money so fast that it was hilarious. And that was at 1 a.m. Bo threw $100 on black. It hit. He had $200. And then we went to the blackjack table. They lost some money. We went back to the roulette, and he lost all of that $200.
You want to know? You want to know who can lose money like you wouldn't believe at the blackjack table?
Is it Drake?
George,
Mm. Well, he has all the money to lose.
pal. He didn't. So one of his debit cards was locked,
Okay.
and the other debit card he did not know the password to. Right. So he calls Claire. Claire doesn't answer. It's too late back in Nashville.
Of course.
He's like, Drake, I need to borrow money. How much do you
Oh,
got?
oh no.
And I'm like, listen, man, it's not about how much I got. It's how much I'm allowed to get by my card. I was like, the bank in Iowa is not open.
Yeah.
And I said, my card has $1,000 limit. Like
Yep.
I can get you $1,000 and that's it. He's like, all right, I get him $1,000, right? So he goes, all right, man, I want to play 2 spots, but they won't let me. So he gives me 500, right?
Wow.
Well, his 500, the dealer got a little hot.
Okay.
His 500 may not have lasted so long.
It's weird when the dealer gets hot, huh?
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, well, what do you want me to do? He's like, all in, duh. And it didn't pan out.
Didn't work out for the good guys, huh?
So we may or may not have torched $1,000 at Weekopa Casino and Golf Resort.
What a name.
Dude, it's a crazy place, man. The golf course is there.
Where is that?
I think it's in Paradise Valley. I think it's in Paradise Valley, right down the road from Eagle Ridge.
Okay. Speaking of Arizona and people who live there, tomorrow, all things go according to plan, the alien, Kevin Casper, is going to be joining the show. You're hearing this on a Thursday, the day that we're recording Kevin. You will hear his episode on Monday. Again, if all things go to plan. Now, with the washed up walk-ons, does everything always go to plan? No. And that's the answer most of the time. Supposed to have merch out last Friday, but guess who? Hey, guess who is fucking with the merch again?
I did tell him to scoop honey out of my ass. I did say that.
You told, hey, Kev, you there?
I'm here, boys. What's going on?
Is the reason that Dale is fucking with us again because he heard Drake tell him to scoop honey out of his asshole?
Well, let's just be honest. If someone told you to scoop honey out of their asshole, Clue, would you be inclined to help their business venture?
Well, that's a good point. It would be situational because if the right person said it in the right spot, I would probably laugh my ass off. But Dale doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So short update on the merchandise before we introduce Kevin in. I believe Kevin was having him and his ass cheeks were kissing the toilet seat. Merch was supposed to go live on Friday. We have two very simple designs. The merchandise run this summer is going to be not a lot, but slightly shorter and less than we wanted it to be because COVID has, I guess, completely fucked the supply chain of like textiles, right? And that makes sense. And I just didn't think it would be that big of a factor. But we got 2 designs, right? We got the Hawks by a Million on a couple new pieces. We got a tank top, all this stuff, nice t-shirt. And then we have a tight end U design. All right. And the tight end U design is cool. I even tweeted it out last week. A ton of people were into it. We had like 300 likes on it. People all over the place like, hey, I need that fucking shirt. Obviously. So we go, mind you, it has little game figures of George, Hawk, and Fant on it, right? Already talked to all three of these dudes. All three were like, cool, send me one when you get it done. I want to rep it. Awesome. They put it in to Dale. Doesn't say their names on it. None of these three guys play for the university anymore. It doesn't even have the hawk, the tiger hawk on it. So in reality, we're doing them the courtesy of going to them first and being like, hey, clearly this is who these people are that we're alluding to, but there's nothing technically that you guys have ruling over this t-shirt. They come back with, well, we're gonna need written approval from those three so that you guys can do that shirt. I'm like,
Just
cool.
screenshot the text messages.
Exactly what I did. I went back to the Instagram message and the text message that I had with all three of them, all of them saying, love it, cool, sent that to our guy who sent it off to Dale. They come back today and hit us with some bullshit that, wait a second, no, actually, we have to send you this form and they have to actually sign it. And then you guys send it back to us. And so at this point, I think we're back to the part where we burn down Dale's house, because all I want to do is give the people of Hawkeye Nation a cool ass tight end U shirt to wear in Kinnick this fall and around all other black and gold events. And Honey Pot Dale, with the 10 pounds of honey stuck up his ass, is trying to make it not happen, dude. Drake, don't do it. Please don't pull that down. Please don't pull your pants down, because then we have to. It's YouTube editing. Yeah, okay, that works. Okay, Honey Pot Dale, Pooh Bear Dale. So that's the update on that situation. On a positive note, for the merchandise topic, flags are going to be a whole lot cheaper for you guys. Hawks by a million flags, whole lot cheaper this time around. But stay tuned on that. I apologize. The Wash Up Block Guns and merch, we're just not great at it historically, going all the way back to our first run.
Oof. Yeah, we may not have gotten that merch run out, but at least we refunded those people that didn't get their merch.
We did refund people, and I'm still so fucking salty. We did $35,000 in revenue that we had to fucking refund everyone. We haven't even come close to that number again. Our podcast would be 10 times bigger if we didn't just bend people over the first time we tried to sell them something. God damn.
Well, unlike some of our former teammates, man, we did the right thing. We gave them their money back.
Ooh.
Shots fired at some of the guys who were trying to fire shots.
Kevin's got the outlaw pistols out, dude, which was what I told Josie to do for his reception entrance the other night. Instead, him and his what?
I was about to say, what he actually did was way cooler.
What he actually did was he locked arms with his partner and flipped her over, and she stuck it. And she had a couple pops in her as well. So
couple of pops,
few pops, and I was worried that they were both going to tear something, but they actually stuck it. Anyway, Kev, what did you think about this weekend celebrating old Gervasay?
It was a fun weekend, man. It was, man, I'm exhausted right now still. It's what fucking day is it? It's Wednesday. I'm Wednesday. Still exhausted from that weekend.
Well, it was a big weekend for Kevin Ward.
Fun ass wedding.
Yep.
I had to get up at 6 the next day, drive out to Michigan for our last 4th of July up at the lake house.
Big weekend for the Ward
family. Yep. Big weekend for the family. And then I was in Chicago Monday night for a little anniversary dinner with the woman.
Oh, yes. I saw that you guys posted about that. So that's another thing that I never thought would come across is Kevin and a woman for a year, over a year now. So congrats on that, buddy.
Hey man, we're doing the thing, huh?
I mean, so far you're doing the damn thing. It just hit me that every single, well, not discounting the long lost member John, who a lot of good feedback from Wiz's episode, of course, it's the Wizard. Discounting him, the 6 of us all have women at the same time right now. So that is a wild moment for Benton Street in general. It was fun to see you, Kev, and it was fun to see Josie and Bo and a bunch of other guys. I talked to, and this is going to lead me into something else. I'm going to get sentimental here on the podcast. Lock down a few more episodes with a few teammates this weekend, and
Of course, you were working this weekend.
I'm always working, baby. I'm always working. But no, it was
You're the
they actually,
ultimate scumbag, dude.
Dude.
Just selling your shit at somebody else's wedding.
Dude,
You
first-
fucking scumbag.
first time I've seen some of these guys in like 4 years, and like 3 minutes into the conversation, I'm like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? But dude, no, most of them brought it up, and I want to go quickly. So this podcast, clearly, for this, we've been running this thing for 20 minutes. We've been running it for 230 episodes, and 95% of what we do on these mics is just bullshit and laugh. And honestly, at this point, it's we've let you into our lives. I mean, you guys know about our way. We just talked about our women. We talked about mental health. We talked about a ton of our playing days, some of the stories from Benton Street. We've told stories from our childhood. I mean, at this point, this is the audio version of a vlog, right? A running 2 times a week vlog. And
I feel like we've built a good rapport with our actual fans.
yeah. And it just, and I know that we say this all the time, but I swear to God, the fact that you guys who are listening to this right now in your car as you drive to work or as you listen, I mean, maybe more than ever in the last 2 weeks, I've talked to people and gotten messages from people that are like, hey, it happened at Josie's wedding. Random guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, Kevin pointed you out. My name's so-and-so. I listen to the podcast, man. I do yard work for a living. I own a lawn care company, and I've got you in my ears all day. It's just so awesome what you guys are doing. 2 weeks ago, I haven't even mentioned this, but on the podcast yet, but the iClub event at Wakanda was absolutely fantastic. I met Jason Manson, who was I think I might have mentioned that. He's going to come on the podcast on Sunday. I've got him lined up. New head of player development, backup to Drew Tate. Funny story. He's like, we were making fun of him basically the entire golf outing for throwing 4 picks in the Syracuse game and basically setting up that defensive stand that is so infamous with the Iowa defense now. Really excited to have him on. He seemed excited. He from 2006, backup quarterback. The first thing he said to me was, "Oh wait, you're washed up walk-ons? Oh my God, I listen to you guys all the time." And I'm like, dude, what the hell? I'm so confused. We're sitting in line. They have all the golf carts lined up. Everybody's ready to go shotgun start. And I've got guys from like 3 carts down saying, Kluver, when's the next podcast coming out? I'm telling you guys, y'all are nuts.
We fucking love you guys, man. We loved you when we were in Kinnick because you were the real ones that had our back, and we still love you now.
Listen to this. It gets even better. So now we go to the wedding this weekend. Random people coming up to me. I got guys like Austin Kelly and Jay Scheel and Eric Grimm coming up and saying like, "Yo, dude, listen to the podcast with who told me this? It was Austin Kelly. Austin Kelly was like, dude, I listened to your podcast with Uyghurs and I haven't reached out to him in a while. And like, so I decided I needed to text him. Now we've been texting back and forth. It like recommunicated their relationship, dude. It was like, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Now that's just some feel good shit right there.
Like
my heart's smiling, man. The Grinch, his heart grew a couple sizes that day.
I have people all over the place. And then today on our Facebook, I get this message, and I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to read it because this blows my mind. When we started this podcast, I did not ever even imagine that this would come close. Tyler, Drake, and Kevin, I wanted to reach out and thank you for reposting episode 28. I've been listening to your podcast for a little over a year, but I haven't gone back and listened to previous episodes before where I picked up. I have always enjoyed your banter, and I will Your passion for Iowa football is what keeps me coming back each episode. I saw the title of this episode and was both excited and scared to listen to it. The title, for those that can't remember off the top of their head, was like Meeting Mental Health Head On. I ended up listening to it twice, and I still have it downloaded because I will probably listen to it at least once more. This specific episode hit close to home for me, and the timing is very serendipitous. I am about to retire from the Air Force. This is Kevin 20 years ago. This could have been Kev. I'm about to retire from the Air Force after more than 20 years of service. The last 16 years were spent flying for Air Force Special Ops Command, where I was part of multiple operations and deployments to shitholes around the world. I was
Wow.
fortunate enough to
Thank
work
you
with
to a hero. Just shout out, thank
Yeah.
you to a true
shout
fucking
out for that in general. I was fortunate enough to work with elite special operations forces from the US and partner nations while doing things that not even my wife knows about or could possibly understand. Guys from my small Iowa hometown have no idea about the places I've been or the things I've done. The job satisfaction of doing my actual job was very high. However, for various reasons, it is time to move on. As I approach the end of my career, I feel a darkness creeping in. I have experienced periods of anxiety and mild depression in the recent past. I haven't been diagnosed with PTSD, but only because I have avoided seeking help. However, I have seen the signs. I have opened up to my closest friends, but that is as far as I have gotten. I have closed off almost everyone else. I know seeking professional help will benefit me, but I am still reluctant. Hearing your stories have helped me realize that seeking help is the way to go. I'm confident I will make it to the other side of this and find a new purpose, but it will take effort. It is helpful hearing about other struggles, how they work through it, and so on. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart, and go Hawks.
Chills, man. That's dude. That literally has got me chills.
So
I'm crying a little bit.
Yeah.
Shout out first to like an awesome human being, because thank you for all the sacrifices you've made. But I can't even imagine going through that, because when you talked about that looming feeling, I know exactly what that was like. I felt like like our last bull prep, like it's coming. You're a few weeks away from it, but you don't want it to end, but it's right there. But the thing is, like, this guy not being able to talk about it, I can't even imagine, man. So,
and it's the only thing that it is emotional. It is emotional. It's the only thing that really was like comparable when we were in the program. Was every once in a while we would talk to somebody with military experience, and I feel like that kind of brotherhood is about as close. It may even be a deeper thing for some, or maybe not as deep for others, but it's very close to like a college athletic environment. And we went and played football for Iowa for 4.5, 5 years. This guy has flown special ops Air Force for 2 decades. 2 decades.
yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine the type of just absolute shock to your life that coming out of that sort of environment does to your body and mindset, and it's got to be tremendously hard. It makes what we went through look like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I know, like the guy said, it's like we're just a bunch of playful banter most of the time. Well, I like to say that, like, we keep it real. The playful bullshit, that's us, just real talk when we talk to each other. Like, if you turn off the mics, we talk to each other the exact same way.
Same way. Exact same way.
But I like to think that we keep it real with the serious stuff too. So
yeah.
To all the listeners out there, man, I appreciate it. And this guy especially, I'm so happy that episode helped you out, man.
I read it and I was like, it was just one of those things that was like, not only that, but it hit home especially hard because I read it right after this weekend when Brandon Bishop, who so many of you responded to personally, as he told me this weekend, Brandon was he was so grateful to come on the podcast as one of our teammates. And he said so many of you guys reached out to him and because he talked a little bit about mental health. And I know this is like the 18th episode in a row about mental health, but I'm not sure you can talk too much about it. And Brandon was talking about how like when I reached out to him to come on the podcast, he was confused at why we wanted to have him on and like what kind of story could he tell. And that was never even the goal was to talk about the mental health side of things that his story involved. And then I read this message and I was just like, dude, like this is not something that when we signed up for this, not that we signed up for anything, but when we started this, I ever thought. And so I think, again, just thank you to the fans and honestly, Drake and Kevin, just thank you guys for doing this with me. And, obviously it's not a hard ask for you guys to sit down and bullshit with me, but I generally being the one who directs this thing, there's been several moments where like one episode, I just straight up told Drake like, hey, we're interviewing Drake Kulik today and we're going to go a little deeper. And like, I've asked you guys to be vulnerable in this experience with me. And so, yeah, man, it was just one of those things that just hit.
It's been a fun ride, man, and we've had our ups and downs with it, but it's been a fun ride. And as we get older, and our time spent together grows further apart. We see each other less and less often. That's what I really appreciate about this podcast, being able to sit down and talk with you guys twice a week and with a bunch of the guys that we spend a lot of time with that we don't get to see too much anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So on a lighter note, marijuana, weed, Mary Jane, the sticky icky. Drake, what are your stances on the plant?
So I can't say I never used it. So I tried it in high school, hated it. Tried it on one spring break in college. Once I had learned the rules well enough of the drug testing schedule, and I knew that if I ate one edible, I would be okay. I ate an edible on a spring break, enjoyed it, but that was it. But then after playing, like my personal struggles have been pretty well documented on this podcast.
No.
And one of the things that has helped me personally stay in a little bit lighter of spirits is the green. And so I am a personal advocate of it for many different reasons, but for me personally, it is a substantial mood enhancer and something that oftentimes helps to calm the pains of the past.
I think it's wild, actually. We've kind of lived the life, a life that's paralleled the advancement of legislation around it. There was, I feel like, I don't know what year, there's probably not a pinpoint year, but there was a stigma for a long time around it more so than there is now. And it's just, I mean, now there's, and I understand that CBD is not THC and all the nuance of it, but
love CBD as well.
CBD.
I take a lot of CBD and it helps for my joint pains a lot.
Right. To the point where like, you mentioned CBD to like an old person and they think it's weed, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
The first time
they probably think that they're going to the penitentiary for
right, yeah, they think they're getting locked up for 40, right? And like the first time I think we've taken a couple different CBD pills for like sleep, just testing it out, stuff like that. And the first time we mentioned it to Lauren's mom, who listens to this podcast, shout out Phyllis. She was like, I before we like really explained it, she was like,
man, you should have seen the conversation between me and my mom. It was not like bad or anything, but like it was a very long, detailed conversation because my mom grew up. I mean, she's a school nurse, like,
and for a long time, it was just smoking weed. That's all you could do with
Right.
right. There was no. I mean, I'm sure there's been dab for a while, like the the resin and all that stuff that gets super like that some real weed junkies are into. Um, Now there's CBD, now there's edibles. I mean, you can eat like you eat Sour Patch Kids and it's just edibles. Like it's when we went out to Arizona, have me a little watermelon gummy, a little watermelon vitamin. Whenever we say vitamins on the show, by the way, that's a Pat McAfee joke. Uh, Vitamins means that it
And
has
I have a license that was given to me by an orthopedic doctor who examined my
yeah.
butchered ankle, and he said, "Son, I can honestly see why this is causing you chronic pain.
Yeah.
Here you are."
Well, if it wasn't that, you had about 3 other legitimate claims for some sort of medication. So,
Listen, man, herbal medication is here for a
yeah.
reason. The
Yeah,
herbs
so
are on this planet for a reason.
yeah, the medical marijuana has done. I mean, you can find story after story. You probably know somebody who's like, "Yeah, I actually got medical marijuana and it helps me a lot," right? And so the stigma and kind of it being an illegal thing is kind of going away. Weed and everything about it's probably going to be like alcohol or I mean, Jesus, the fact that cigarettes are still a thing, that's still that blows my mind. Anyway,
The reason that the prohibition of weed originally was for the marijuana and alcohol industries to flourish, or the big tobacco and
Yep.
alcohol industries to flourish.
Yep. All this to be said because, well, one of the fastest women in U.S. history, Sha'Carri
And
Richardson.
and I'll say right now, she's got to be the fastest because she's not good out of the blocks. So the
No,
way
she's
she
not.
gets down the track is something special.
Once she gets to top speed, she's moving, bro.
They showed the acceleration chart. She doesn't stop accelerating.
Yeah.
Her acceleration in the green was so much further than everybody's.
Yeah. She runs fast, would dust all of us. And watching the Olympic trials actually over the past like 2 weekends before this was really fun. Just watching people who are the best at what they do just fascinates me. But Sha'Carri Richardson, as of right now, and I don't know if there's any way to reverse this or any kind of thing, but she is not going to run in the Olympics.
No, I think it's done
A done
because
deal.
like as far as the entire world goes, marijuana is still extremely illegal in a lot of places.
Right.
And the Olympic Commission oversees the entire world, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of silly places in this world, and the Olympic Commission can't just bend over for the U.S.
Which begs the topic. She did it knowing full well that it was illegal in the organization and people that she was running for, the race that she's running, it's illegal. It's one of the rules.
Dude, this is identical to the TJ Dillashaw story, except for completely a different PED.
Sure. Well, is that what they're calling it?
That's what this is considered.
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting because that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, it might help you like recover in like CBD aspects.
Or I guess it's just banned substance. It's just one of the banned substances, just like, I don't know, whatever.
So basically the debate is should she be allowed to run? What are your thoughts on it? This, that, the other.
So I think it was bullshit for the US team to not put her on the relay because she obviously clearly qualified. She's the fastest woman in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like a political save your ass type thing. And I think that's really, really bogus.
Is the fact that she couldn't run the open, but the relay because it was several days later?
It was it was like a week later or something.
Crossed the 1 month timeline of being clean or whatever.
Yeah. And I personally think that's super bogus, but that's one man's opinion.
Yeah, if the rule is she clears whatever being 1 month clean, and the Olympics now are going to allow her in, and she can run a few days later in the relay, then the U.S. saying no that's political. That's political for sure. Her not being allowed to, the Olympics denying her because she's not going to be clean far enough out. my opinion is the rules. I have nothing against marijuana or anything like that. But it would be no different if it was like, hey, Drake, you're gonna wrestle, you're gonna be in the 197 weight class, and you come in at 199. It's illegal to be 2 pounds heavier than even though being 199 isn't a crime. It's still illegal to wrestle 197 if you're 2 pounds over. So like, I don't know, man. It's on her. She said, and she owned up to it too, which was cool. It's not like, that's the one nice thing about this. If there is a silver lining, is like, she didn't come out and say like, oh no, there was weed in my burrito. uh,
I mean,
um,
it's a super adult thing to do, and that's why I think it's really bogus that the team did. Now, if I have bad information, then I have bad information, but
Yeah.
that is the information that I have been seeing from, I think, pretty reputable sites.
Yeah.
That it was the U.S. is not going to put her on the relay team.
Yeah, it's interesting. Those are really my only thoughts on it. It just really, it's hard to say like, come out and be like, all the countries should, try and
In some places, it's illegal to religion, man. Like,
right. No, that's what I'm saying.
In Islam religion, like, get
Right.
out of here.
Yeah, like you're as much policy change as we can enact and try and push forth over here in the U.S. all fine and dandy. It's not like you're gonna change China's mind, right? Or like, Russia. You're our ideals and morals and infrastructure of our society isn't going to infringe on anyone else's country, right?
But the fastest country in the world would be all for it. The Jamaicans would be partying
True.
up in the Olympic Village and then beating everybody.
They would be high as shit and then running insane 4x1s. And I don't know. It's wild. Sad because she's fast and she had a good chance at gold in the Olympics for the open one.
And the women's team had a good chance at gold in the 4x1.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin, any thoughts, or did we say it all?
I mean, you pretty much said it all. It's like, it's a silly rule, but at the same time, you knew the silly rule was there. So it's like, I see both sides of it. Yeah. Would I like to see the rule like changed so that she can run? You goddamn right. But
also, here, let me ask you guys this on this podcast, being that this is a spill the beans, tell all podcast. Would you guys have rather me been able to eat edibles or eat all the pain pills that I was eating when I was in college?
Oh God, edibles 1,000
100%, right?
1,000 times.
Right? Like, but I was eating those pain pills by the dozen for, however many reasons. And that was definitely not good for me. No. So like, I had access to things that I was not getting popped for.
Yeah. That
were way worse than things I could have been using.
Yeah. Yeah. That gets into a whole other conversation about painkillers are not good, man. Painkillers. I mean, I'm sure we wouldn't have to reach out too far to listeners on this podcast for someone to have been affected by painkiller addiction. Because that shit is lethal. And, then you compare it to like weed, which is a plant that grows, and you're like, well, if you can get the benefits here and you can get the benefits there, then maybe go with the natural thing, but maybe we'll just feed you this codeine that'll constipate you and make you reliant for the next 20 years. Who knows? Interesting stuff. Did you guys watch the golf match last night at all?
I didn't watch
it. I caught about a half hour of it.
Yeah, it was long, because that's what happens when you are doing it for entertainment. I have a theory that if Phil could just play that relaxed and like talk to the camera during the every week tournaments, he might be in the top 10 of every tournament, because he just relaxes and he plays and it's like his environment. Like, he's an entertainer.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I can't wait. maybe it's the wrong way to say this. I can't wait till he retires and then he starts doing television because
yeah.
he's just a great personality.
I can't wait till he retires, makes his own YouTube channel, and plays golf with celebrities.
Yes.
And does this and just sets up stuff like this all the time and is just the best for golf television. And then the whole world is into golf because of the Lefty. That's the dream come true.
I was just gonna say the Lefty podcast, dude. Can you imagine the stories? He's so good at telling stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys didn't get a lick. You didn't get a lick of Iowa football tonight. I will say this: there was this tight end 4-star who we were going after who committed to Auburn, so that sucks. We did get a quarterback.
Huge shout out to Joe Wieskamp.
Oh, Joey Dub. He's he's gonna be in the NBA, man.
The king of Muscatine, man. I told you from
you did.
How long have I been telling you? Probably 2014.
Yeah, no. I think you might have mentioned Joey Weiss in our late night N320 talks.
Bro, shout out to Joey's camp. He knows he's family. He's coming on the podcast. We talked about it. He's busy for a while. But he said he's excited to come on the podcast and talk to us. I couldn't be prouder because I feel so like me and the Wieskamp family go all the way back to his dad being really cool with my pops because my pops sent all of his orthopedic patients to Steve for physical therapy because his dad was the head of Muscatine Physical Therapy. So like I went to Steve when I was young for all my physical therapy and growing up and everything. And after I broke my leg, went back to Muscatine, Steve did some work on my leg. Like the Wieskamps, legendary family in Muscatine, and the king, man, Joey the King. I don't know. I'm just so fucking proud of him, man. I've been watching him forever, been a huge super fan, and I'm fanboying now because I love the kid. And it's incredible to see like he actually did what we all knew he was going to do.
Yeah. He went from dropping 40 nightly on Iowa kids to there's a bunch of Iowa kids over in that conference that are now our age or a little younger who are like, they're going to watch him play in the league and they're going to be like, yeah, dude, I guarded Wieskamp senior year. He dropped 48 on me. That's it, man. We've been on this hiatus of guests. We had John Wiz, but now we've lined up, I was working at the wedding, talked to DeMarco. He's in a couple Sundays. Talked to Macon. He's in. We got Jason Manson coming on. So we got some people lined up here as we go down the home stretch. We're like 7 or 8 weeks away from Iowa football. And the only other Iowa football thing I can think of is Brady Ross. He wifed her up. Brady Ross is no longer a single man out there. So for all you ladies who listened to his episode and thought, wow, that voice is incredible, that Dolph impersonation is just God tier. Well, he's off the market now. And that's another guy that I never thought.
That was an impossibility.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the world just turned upside down.
Upside down.
For all you listeners out there, no matter how weird you are, there's someone out there for you.
There's somebody there for you, man. There's somebody there for you. So hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a little off the beaten path again, but hopefully we could entertain you. That's episode 230. We're going to be hitting you with guest after guest after guest in the next couple weeks, and stay tuned on the Washed Up Walk On social media and my personal social media for updates about Dale's honeypot ass. So that's it. 2:30. Go get yourself some honey. Talk to you later. Peace.